Hi there. Net migration figures in the UK have reached record levels. In fact, the figures for the previous year have been revised up from 600 to 750,000 now, or thereabouts. And it seems that it's completely out of control, despite the fact this is one of the flagship policies of the Conservative government. And the reason I mention this is because if you're thinking of coming to the UK, then do watch this space, because as usual, in order to reduce net migration, they are normally going to go for the soft targets like students and work permit holders. I'm just going to share a screen with you to show the extent of the issue here. A second here, because the government have tried and tried. I mean, in 2010, we had David Cameron telling us that he was going to get net migration down from the hundreds of thousands to the tens of thousands. This was the big slogan at the time. We're going to get it down to the tens of thousands, meaning that from 150,000, it was going to go down to 99,000. But it's never got there. Okay, so I'm going to show you this screen now. Hopefully you can see this. Okay, you should be able to see this screen now, but things seem to have frozen up here. Hi there, this is Charles Kelly. Net migration figures in the UK are just going through the roof. You might be able to see the screen down below. Net migration figures in 2022 have been revised up to a record 750,000 virtually, which is sort of unheard of. And everyone's all over this because cutting down migration to what David Cameron, who was the then Prime Minister in 2010, said we're going to get net migration down to the tens of thousands. And then he started slashing all sorts of things around students, and he almost destroyed the student market then. Now he's back as Foreign Secretary for some reason. But anyway, that policy was always doomed to failure. And since then, migration figures has gone up and up and up. In fact, Rishi Sunak is now blaming it on Boris Johnson, which is ridiculous because he was part of the government that had been around for the last few years. But look, net migration figures up to 745,000 last year. This was a revised figure from the Office for National Statistics. But this year, they're in the 600,000 again. So, you know, it's not getting any better. It's looking worse for the government. And the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, said that net migration was putting an unsustainable pressure on communities and councils. I've got to laugh because you wonder where these guys have been. But this year to June, 672,000, which is still a lot, but that means that 1.2 million people came into the UK, and obviously around 400,000 or 500,000 left, but it's still a lot. And now this is why I'm mentioning this, because the vast majority of these people are arriving from outside the European Union, because of course we've had Brexit now, but students accounted for the largest non-EU group of migrants. Now, I don't know why they count students as migrants, because for me, they're temporary migrants. They're coming in to study. Some may go on to stay. Others may leave. A lot of them do leave. But, of course, we got a lot of people coming in on asylum. We had the Ukraine people and this one, the boat people coming over. But really, the vast majority of these are students. Here it says in the article, back in 2010, David Cameron, the former Tory Prime Minister, said they would get net migration down to below 100,000, no ifs, no buts. Okay, so it's a difficult situation for them, and this could lose them in the election if they don't get this sorted out. So what are they going to do? The government are now considering new measures, including limiting to one the number of relatives that the health and social care workers are allowed to bring in. They've had this health and social care scheme, which has brought hundreds of thousands of people in, health and social care workers, under a work permit scheme. They're planning to curtail that, excuse me, and limit the number of relatives they can bring on, or dependents. Maybe they'll bring it down to zero. Raising the minimum salary for work visas. They're talking about £40,000. Well, that's going to cut out nurses. Healthcare workers haven't got a chance. And abolishing the system that allow employers to pay less when they are recognised shortages. That's less than the going rate here in the UK. So this is what's going to happen. And I think that what they're going to go is go for the soft target here. And the soft target is limiting workers. In fact, I think the immigration minister, Robert Jenrick, said the other day, we're going to cut down the number of workers coming into the UK. This will be the biggest cut in immigration ever. Well, yeah, but you're cutting down the people we need. They need health and social care workers. They need nurses. But they're going for that soft target rather than looking for, the illegal migration that is coming in, and they don't seem to be able to do anything about it. And the soft targets are workers and students. So at the moment, students can bring in dependents, the dependents, and this might stop. But there's a lot of wrangling going on between the parties. So this is where I think we're going to see a huge change coming up in the way that they are treating the students coming in and the workers. So if you're in a process where you're processing a working visa, get it done fast, because the scheme, the clamp could come down on this scheme any day now. Now, I've been in recruitment for many years myself, and most of my time I was spent bringing in nurses and care workers into the UK. I stopped that when Cameron came to power with Theresa May as Home Secretary, because they just made it so difficult. Now they're in need of workers again. A lot of the universities need foreign students and their money to survive, literally. So I've moved away from this area now, and now I'm recruiting student nurses for Canada, which is much more open to immigration. They need nurses, but they put forward a sensible scheme to recruit nurses, and the jobs are available. Now, of course, you need to be qualified. Now, for a lot of people out there, working as nurses in African countries, in India and the Philippines, and maybe they haven't got the right English level, maybe they haven't got the NCLEX because they haven't got round to doing it, or they can't do it, and certainly it can be difficult for them. So there is a scheme out there which I'm promoting, which is a student visa scheme designed to bridge the gap between where you are now and getting that job in Canada and getting permanent residence. So if you're interested in that, let me know. You need 2 years nursing experience. You need an IELTS level at least 6 or 6.5, and you need to have money, obviously, to pay the fees and survive and pay your living expenses in Canada for at least sort of 12 to 18 months. Now, you don't need all of that up front, because this particular scheme has paid work employment, guaranteed paid work as part of the study. So you'll be doing 10 to 15 hours of study in the college every week, and the rest of the time you'll be working up to 20 hours a week in paid employment in a hospital. So you'll be getting hospital experience, learning while you're in college, doing your NCLEX, getting your English level up, and at the same time earning while you're learning in paid employment. And then the idea is that hospital you're working in will give you sponsorship for your working permit or your working visa at the end of the course, once you've got your NCLEX and once you've done your exams to qualify for registration as a nurse in Canada. But the college will help you all the way through that process and hold your hand through that process and help you get sponsorship at the end. Now, of course, once you're there in Canada, the world is your oyster. There's loads of hospitals looking for jobs, so you don't even have to go with their sponsorship. You can find plenty of opportunity to get work in Canada, but it's there for you if you want it. So it's a great scheme. If you're interested, contact me on info@ukuniversityservices.com, or check out my website, ukuniversityservices.com. I say UK University Services because I used to recruit students for the UK. Now I'm going for Canada because they're much more open. The time limit to get your permanent residence is much shorter. In the UK, it's 5 years to get permanent residence, another year to go for citizenship. Canada's much more open. And with this student scheme, you can also bring dependents, and the dependent can work as well. So if you're interested in that, let me know. The scheme is open now. It's just open. They've got an intake in January coming up and another one March, April. So now is the window's open now. So now's the time. If you're working as a nurse, you must have 2 years nursing experience in your own country. And it could be from anywhere. Maybe you're in the UK and you're fed up working in the UK in the health service. You want to go to Canada. Canada's a great country. It's got a fantastic economy. They've got mineral wealth. They've got oil. They've got coal. They've got gas. They've got everything there, and a great thriving economy. And this particular course will be based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, in Toronto, the most vibrant city in Canada. There's plenty of opportunities there. It's a great place to be. So jump on board. If you're interested in that, let me know, and I'll put my details up here at the end of this so you can email me. But now is the time. Now the time is open for you. So get on board with this. Work as a nurse in Canada, and you won't look back. Thanks very much for listening, and I will speak to you again soon.